All right, Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. This lesson, just touching quickly, Lord willing, is edifying to the point. The different protests, the wars and rumors of war going on around the world. Now, over the weekend in several cities, you had what you would call the hands-off protest that was in several cities. I saw it, some in downtown Houston, which just videos. I wasn't there. Videos showing up around the world of these protests, and it's so much so that you go to search, worldwide protests or whatever, that the news of America really is flooded, and that's just kind of, I think, how Google works. They just, whatever they want people to see, that's what they're showing their site. But there's other protests going on worldwide. So just here, just start with this, is Jeremiah 28 and verse 8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence. So it's the same thing today. The prophets are back in their stead today, back in their same lot, prophesying against this wicked kingdom, Babylon the Great. And it's no different. The prophets aren't prophesying peace. They're not prophesying, partying and chicken wings and donuts. We're prophesying war, evil, and pestilence. This is what's coming on the earth. War is coming. World War III is coming. It's going to be in the Valley of Yehoshaphat, in the Persian Gulf, in the Middle East, and the tensions between Iran and Babylon the Great, Iran being Persia, is ramping up. It's going to continue to ramp up until it's a full-out war. So you're going to see these tensions build up, and talks and shit talking and this and that, up until war fully breaks out, up until the point of no return. So this is Second Ezra chapter. I'll start at chapter 9 and verse 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So you measure the time diligently. How you do that? Through the prophecies. When you see the events happening, this is how you do it. It's like I mentioned this a lot. It's like a road marker. A milestone. When you're traveling to a different city or destination, it's going to have different signs, like, a gas station, 5 miles, 5 exits, whatever, such and such city, 200 miles. So when you come up to these different road markers, historical marker, 5 miles away, whatever, when you come up to these different road markers, they're letting you know how close you are to the destination. So these milestones in prophecy that we're seeing, the different things that we're seeing, are letting us know how close we are to the kingdom of heaven, because we're getting closer and closer every day. Even though to the average person, the person that's in the dark, they have no idea. But to those that are watching diligently, every day is getting closer and closer to World War III, closer and closer to being full out in the midst of Jacob's trouble, where it's going to be all out chaos. Closer and closer to the day when the MOTB is fully implemented, where it's going to be mandatory to get it. And that's the RFID micro C-HIP. And if you don't get it, you're not going to be able to participate in society. You're going to be an enemy of the state, an enemy of the world, because this is going to be a global system. So for all you people that deny what the MOTB is, what are you going to do in that day? For you people that say the Jacob's trouble has already happened, what are you going to do in the midst of Jacob's trouble. You gonna say it already happening? It already happened when you going through it. This already happened. No, I'm in a new covenant, brother. Jacob's trouble. What? I'm in a new covenant. What are you talking about? Stupid ass. But the point being, hey, these things are coming up quick. So again, 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 1, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world. Now, there was just a major earthquake in Myanmar and also in Thailand. And then I think there was another one. Let me check real quick. So let's see here. I don't want to. Dang. What's today? Okay, that was just about 3 days ago. So it was a 6.9 in Papua New Guinea, a 5.6 in the South Sandwich Islands. I don't really know where that is. A 5.5 south of Iceland. So you having earthquakes, hey, every day. But let's go here to the USGS.gov. So you don't see earthquakes. Let me see here. Like I said, Fiji. I can just go to the map. So this is earthquakes. Let's see here. Is this Texas? Two earthquakes here in Texas. One in Nevada, California. There. And one in Greece. Tajikistan. This thing's just going kind of slow. It's not a 4.0 in Tajikistan. 4.2 in China. One in Japan. Let me see here. Okay, that's just for this week. Let me see. How do I remember how to do this? Oh, that's just one day. Okay. Well, I can do 30 days is significant worldwide, so let's do that. It's not even showing the magnitude. Oh, it does 7.7. I thought there was one in Thailand. That's all right. Anyway, there goes Papua New Guinea. That's north of Australia, east of Indonesia. So just given the significance of the different earthquakes that happened in the last 30 days, you got earthquakes that happen usually around fault lines. But anyway, so 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 3, therefore when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. So the Most High, he already told us, he spoke it, and now it's happening. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. So this is the end. This is the end times. Which is not the end of the world. This is the end of Esau Edom's kingdom. This is the end of his reign. This is the end of his age. And the kingdom to come is going to be an everlasting kingdom, the kingdom of Israel, headed over by Yahushua, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. So now, this didn't really show up. I had to specifically search this. This is Spain's housing crisis protests. And shoot, I'll just play this video just to get straight to the point. And this is around all over Spain. But basically, hey, all the people that live there, they're getting priced out. They can't afford the housing. They can't afford anything. And this isn't just there. This is going to be happening worldwide. And this is to introduce the system to come. You know, this beast system. So this is another protest, which it happened Saturday, but this is from Axios.com. This is from April 5th. It says, what to know about Saturday's nationwide hands-off anti-Trump protest. It says places where a hands-off rally or visible event planned for April 5th. And look, this shit look like chickenpox. This is all over the country. Everywhere they're planning this. And this isn't just here. This is just showing this in Babylon the Great, but this is all over the world. These anti-Trump protests is happening. A nationwide anti-President Trump movement on Saturday, Hands Off, is expected to be the largest single-day protest since he entered office. The Trump administration's wide-reaching and ground-shaking policies have mobilized a varied cross-section of Americans affected by political, economic, and social and legal changes. So Trump is affecting a lot of people, his own supporters, the people that supported him, all kinds of people. All kinds of people are against him. But this is how do you say? This is a part of this prophecy. You know, uproars of the people. This is not just corruption. The Hands Off website said this is not just mismanagement. This is a hostile takeover. It says more than 1,100 rallies, visibility events, and meetings were scheduled in all 50 states as of Wednesday afternoon. Man. Organizers said they had more than 500,000 RSVPs as of Friday night. And then anyway, protesters are rallying against several Trump administration's policies, including its handling of Social Security benefits, layoffs across federal workforce, attacks on consumer protections and anti-immigrant policies, and attacks on transgender people. And you got to include that, I guess. But the protests are also against Elon Musk's involvement in the federal government via Doge, which he's not even an elected official. He's just there. Like, he got money to be there. But if you understand his role, you know, this is he's got a digital currency. He's got Neuralink, the brain implants. He's got I forgot what he calls his robots, but he's got the robots. He's got the cyber cars, the electric cars, I should say. You know, this guy is here pretty much everything. He's got Starlink. Pretty much everything that the new system is going to require, he's got it. You know, if that makes sense, because this is going to be a one world unified government where all the vehicles are going to be electric and gas powered cars. Everything's going to be connected to the Internet of Bodies. You're not going to have any kind of privacy. Robots and drones going to be everywhere. You're not going to be able to access anything without that CHIP. This is the future you're looking at. The hands-off demonstrations will occur at these state capitals, which had already happened. So what they're saying, this is a nationwide mobilization to stop the most brazen power grab in modern history. The movement's website said Trump, Musk, and their billionaire cronies are orchestrating an all-out assault on our government, our economy, and our basic rights enabled by Congress every step of the way. Which, hey man, y'all are, this is meant to happen, but those that in the know that see these things happening, we hope these things happen. We hope this gets worse. We hope this becomes more authoritarian. We're hoping this becomes more brutal. We're hoping the MOTB comes out tomorrow because we're that much closer to getting to the kingdom of heaven. Or today. We hope the nukes drop today. Hope the nukes drop right now as I'm doing the lesson, and Lord willing, I'll be saved out of this. But hey, we wanted to get out of here. We don't want to be here. We don't want to see another fucking Edomites stupid ass fake smile. We don't want to be around these 2/3 Jakes. But anyway, just slacking for rambling. That's pretty much all I'm going to read for this. That's pretty much the article anyway. I'm going to go to this article real quick because I tried to look up right here this Protest 2025 or World Protest 2025, and I searched for the last week. But a lot of this stuff is just the articles that pop up is about anti-Trump. That's like they make it all these things like Google makes it seem like this is the only thing going on in the world. But I found this article here. The Water Yalba Shemiel Shai. It says CarnegieEndowment.org. It says the emissary says why are political protests surging around the world? And this is from April 2nd. Governmental overreach or neglect is sparking citizen mobilization in many countries. But I can tell you, I can pull up a scripture real quick to let you know why these things are. Oops, not that one. Let me see here. This is Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. So the wicked is in rulership right now. Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. This is who's ruling right now, and the people are mourning. This is why they're in uproars. This is why they're protesting. Everything's been turned upside down. The people are unhappy. And it's going to continue to get worse. The people are going to get more and more angry. It says, why are political protests happening or surging around the world? It says, sizable anti-government protests with pointed political edge are mushrooming in multiple regions. A knot of protesters has hit the Balkans and Bosnia, Montenegro, North Macedonia, and Serbia. And that's mostly Europe, but that's all over. That's going into Asia. That's all over. And another set has erupted in Central and Eastern Europe, including Georgia, Hungary, Slovakia. Demonstrations have also flared in Greece, Israel, Mozambique, South Korea, and Turkey. What is triggering this surge of political protests? And does it represent good or bad news for democracy globally? This is bad news. This is bad news for global democracy. This is bad news for the world. Good news for the Israelites. Why? Because, you're going to see these kind of things, uproars of the people before the Lord comes. Government's anti-democratic actions are driving most of these protests. In two cases, Georgia and Mozambique, the widely perceived manipulation of national elections pushed citizens into the streets. So they got corrupt elections. and that's gonna, like I said, driving people to the streets to protest, which elections are bullshit anyway. In Georgia, the new government's decision to suspend accession talks with EU added fuel to the fire. In both countries, protests have continued for several months. It's like, just my niggas got to park like right next to you. Anyway, so in Georgia, the new government's decision to suspend accession talks with the EU added fuel to the fire. In both countries, protests have continued for several months. In other cases, the anti-democratic actions in question are not election related. Protests burst out in Hungary after the Hungarian parliament on March 18th passed a law banning Libiktukta pride marches and allowing authorities to use facial recognition surveillance obtained from China, which is also a part of the New World. It's going to be a surveillance state. You're not going to be able to do anything. To identify individuals participating in banned pride events. Israel's long roiling waves of protest against Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's centralization of political power swelled again after he announced on March 16th the dismissal of Shin Bet Chief Ronan Bar. So, hey, even Israel, they're supposed to be back in their homeland, right? According to them, they're the real people of the land. They're supposed to be back in the homeland, and once they return home, there's supposed to be peace on earth. The nations aren't supposed to learn war anymore. But what do you see? You see the opposite. They're there. War is building up. And just point out that these are not the people. Protesters view this move as one more expression of Netanyahu's determination to hold power at any cost. Protesters there also surged after the restart on March 18th of the military campaign against Hamas, which is really just genocide against the Palestinians. The declaration of martial law last December by South Korean President Yoon Suk Yeol provoked major citizen street mobilization. Since martial law was lifted, protests demanding Yoon's impeachment have continued, highlighting citizen anger over his actions and concerns for South Korea's democracy. Protests erupted in Turkey after the government ordered the detention in October of Ahmet Ozer, the mayor of Istanbul's Esenyurt district, and a member of the opposition Republican People's Party. Even larger demonstrations occurred after the arrest on March 17 of Istanbul Mayor Ekrem Imamoglu, a top rival of President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. And in the case of Serbia, protests that started in November as a response of governmental corruption related to the collapse of the roof of a train station entrance have morphed into massive, sustained pro-democracy demonstrations, excoriating the rule of President Alexander Vučić and his Serbian Progressive Party. Other protests, while politically driven, are less about anti-democratic behavior by incumbent regimes and more about intense frustration over poor governmental responses to disasters and weak governmental accountability generally. In Bosnia, this was a slow governmental response to a devastating flood. In Greece, sustained government inaction in response to a train crash. In Montenegro, poor handling of mass shooting. And in North Macedonia, corruption around safety violations that contributed to a catastrophic nightclub fire. And then it talks about the U.S. In the U.S., a small to medium-sized protest occurred in many cities against various actions by President Donald Trump administration that some citizens have found objectionable, which, it's kind of downplaying it. Here it is. The other article that I read, it said in all 50 states, there was a 1,100 protests. You even looked at the map, and over 500 people, 500,000 people had said that they were going to attend these protests. I mean, that sounds like a lot, but hey. But pretty much the article goes on. We understand that there's a uproars of the people, and this is a sign of the end. And I was going to go to Matthew 24, but for time's sake, I'm just going to Lord willing, I can go into a different lesson onto that. So this is Second Ezra chapter 15, and I'll read verse 10. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. And this is Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's people, the Israelites. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. So the Israelites today, right now, 2/3 are just blind, dumb. They're being led to the slaughter that's coming, to Jacob's trouble, to the MOTB, and ultimately to the thermonuclear fire. But Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is going to save his elect out of this land, Egypt. This is spiritually Egypt, spiritual Sodom. Verse 11, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. Now, this is speaking of this land here, Babylon the Great. Hey, it's being touched by all kinds of plagues. You got all kinds of pestilences, all kinds of sickness that are building up, and it's just going to take, one disaster to happen. One disaster. For the electricity to go out, for the water to go out, for disease to build up, for people to start dying. Once people will start dying, nobody's there to clean up the bodies. Nobody's there to do that stuff. Like I said, clean up the bodies, cleanse the areas. No running water. A disease is going to go rampant. You got no access to medical supplies. All kinds of plagues are going to be running rampant. Verse 12, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundations of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that Yahweh Bashem Yahushai shall bring upon it. So they that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through the blasting and hail, and with a fearful constellation. So even the farmers, they're mourning. What is it? They don't even, like last year, they weren't sure they're going to make a harvest, and this year is even worse. Verse 14, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. So this whole world, destruction to you. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and their swords in their hands. So the sword, the destruction, different armies raising up, wars and rumors of war. There's going to be a major draft. There's going to be a war in the Middle East. There's going to be a civil war here in Babylon the Great. You're going to see people rising up against each other. You already see the hate that Esau Edom, a so-called white man, has against Jake, so-called Negroes, and vice versa. Deporting all kinds of people, and this is gonna turn up. Verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. So sedition, rebelling against the government. What you're seeing right now, uproars of the people, and that's going to increase to where people are going to take up arms and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. So they're not going to regard the government. And the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So it's going to be in their own hands. They're going to take control. This is verse 17. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. So and with a different factors with the MOTB. If you look at how was that an example of how New York they're making like the different tolls. It's going to increase. You got travel. I can't remember what they called it. We're calling it, but you're going to have different things. Like if you don't have the MOTB, you're not going to have to be able to access the city. You're not going to be able to access this. It was like with the Paris Olympics, they had like special bracelets, and if they ain't had the right bracelet, they couldn't go into certain parts of the city. But even infrastructure, different storms could happen. The roads could be destroyed, bridges blown up. The access to the city, all that could be cut off. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. This is going to be terrible times. This is a time like never before. Verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. This is Jacob's trouble. Your neighbor, they ain't going to have no pity. They're hungry. Their ribs are showing. Their kids' ribs are showing. Whatever. They ain't going to have no pity on you. There's going to be home invasions. So let's see. I think there was also in 16. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 16 and verse 21, and I'll close out after this. This is, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. So, hey, just because you can get a cheeseburger or whatever right now for I'll say a reasonable price, but that don't mean the evils aren't growing. Things are growing on behind the scenes. Famine building, destruction building up, the sword building up, confusion because people don't know. People that don't know about Jacob's trouble, that aren't in this truth, they don't know what's getting ready to take place. So when the time comes, they're going to be running around, scared, hands on their loins, like Jeremiah 30 verse 7, or leading up to verse 7. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape this hunger shall the sword destroy. So there's going to be great famines, lots of killing. In Revelation, it says that it's going to be so much death, or in other words, so much blood that it's going to go up to the horse's bridle. Like that's how much death is going to be happening in these days. Verse 23, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. So dead people just going to be cast out. They ain't going to bury them. And that's going to breed diseases. That's going to breed all kinds of things. Wild animals, vultures, terrible smells. But just the protests, the rumors of war, all this is the beginning. Expect things to get worse from here. But this is just a sign. This is just a marker, a milestone to look at. But hey, Lord willing, this is edifying. Hey, shalom.